is the real thing, so much of the like rehearsal.
Yeah, no rehearsal.
It's catch. Welcome to the Rock of Rosslyn Park, but tonight Durham's castle as Exeter come to lay siege as we catapult you into round 3 of BUCS Super Rugby 2018. Kickoff is at 7:30, but we got Good evening, welcome to the Super Show. It's me, Burnsy, and I'm back to my full complement tonight. I've got Hugo, so I am complete again, and we've got a bit of stardust sprinkled on the show tonight with Olympic silver medalist and England Sevens captain Tom Mitchell, and Durham coach and Heineken Cup final try scorer Ben Woods, formerly of Leicester Tigers. Boys, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Mate, pleasure. What good event on tonight?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, looking forward to it. You know, two quality sides, two sides that you've spoken to Alex Ray already. You know, really excited about bringing a game to Rosslyn Park to London, and this Exeter side that we saw last week, 53-50 winners against Northumbria. We're in for a classic tonight. Definitely.
And Tom, while we got you here, let's talk about England quickly. How's pre-season going? I know it's been quite long already. You've managed to skirt a little bit of it with some nice holidays.
Not by choice. Been injured, just to caveat that, but anyone who's done a rugby pre-season knows it's not why you do it. You do it so you can get in decent shape. But the boys have been working incredibly hard. As you say, I've been watching most of it from the sideline, but it should stand us in good stead for December and Dubai, which is the first tournament.
Yeah, how's your personal recovery coming along?
It's been good. Fortunately, this late stages have gone by quite quickly. I was back in this week with the boys for the first time, doing some rugby training, trying to find my feet again with the rest of the lads and find my lungs along with it. It's been good fun.
And the groups got drawn yesterday for Dubai. What do you make of it?
Yeah, so you look at it, and the thing with the World Series now is all the groups have been going to be pretty tasty. We've been fairly fortunate. It's an all-European affair in our group. We've got Spain and France, which are always good games, and we've got Scotland, who are a bit of a bogey team for us last year. But that first tournament, everyone's so excited to get into it, so we're already looking forward to it.
Mate, awesome stuff. Okay, right, so we just touched on it being a bit of an event tonight, and somewhere else where there was an occasion was where we were last week when Loughborough took on Hart, and we've got a bit of footage to show you. It's a biggie. We're at Loughborough University at their stadium for round 2 of BUCS Super Rugby 2018. It's a heavyweight battle. We've got Loughborough welcoming Hart, last year's champions, kicking off at 7 p.m. in a crowd of close to 3,000 people.
Jack Motes with the put-in and the scrum. Right on the Loughborough line. Much better push, much better shove from Loughborough. They're walking this one forward, and the referee, well, he didn't even give that a second chance. Penalty try for Loughborough. Using their zeros now, Loughborough. Again, keeping it tight. Trying to roll their way over. Could they get near the line here? It looks as if they're bundled over. Surely that was up against the post at least, and it's a try for Loughborough. At the back, he goes on his own. He needs some support. Back with the pop to Motes. Motes trying to go on his own. Motes! Did he drop that over the line? It fell out his hand at the death. Did he get that down? The referee is going to the touch judge. In one arm, just shoving off a tackle. Was that through his legs? What an offload. Loughborough looks to come wide now. Fitch, a step. Can he go the whole way? A good tackle at the death by Hartbury. They have numbers to this near touchline. Motes going on his own, and he scores once again. Stop them in their tracks. Motes through the hands of Fitch. Back inside to Bitterim. Bitterim trying to go on the outside, playing it into the hands of Oscar Persky Douglas, and he's over the line. Musa Youssef, Loughborough back row being substituted there, but Hartbury from the line out. It's a good play here. They're trying to wheel this one over. They have numbers. Is it going to be dotted over in the corner? From Hartbury backs there, leaning, putting them on the front foot. Through the gap again, Tom Hurd, the try scorer. He's going on his own. He's got wheels like a back here. He fends. He's going on his own. He won't get the hop, but he's been supported here by the replacement scrum half, who's going to go in the corner.
2017. A man who knows his onions.
He does. What a talismanic leader. But here at Loughborough Hollywell Stadium, final score: Loughborough 36, Hartbury 15. Not the start the reigning Super Rugby champions would have wanted, but Loughborough, well, they seem to have turned things round over the last 7 months. They've come into this season all guns blazing.
There you go, Joe, to you.
So, Hartbury, the champions, vanquished up there at Loughborough. Now, Hugo, you weren't there to join me. You were reclined in your Skyfall-esque estate in Scotland watching that game. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, first of all, brilliant to see 3,500 people there. Brilliant crowd. Loughborough, you know, they get everyone down there. It's on campus. It's great to see such an atmosphere down there. But for me, you know, Hartbury, you found it hard juggling both. You know, they're juggling this year championship and on a Wednesday in the BUCS Super League. You know, they came unstuck last week against the Loughborough side that on the day, you know, performed probably near their maximum. So, you know, I think it's going to be a Hartbury going to have a good season over the whole course. But Loughborough on the day with a better team.
One swallow does not make a summer, so they'll be back, I'm sure. But watching that game, Ben, as a Durham coach, that's indicative of the standard that we're looking at BUCS these days.
Yeah, it's noticeable. It's gone up in the last couple of years. The introduction of the BUCS Super League has been ridiculous in terms of the level of the training, the coaching that's going into these games. You're seeing it when they play on a Wednesday now, or Friday tonight.
Yeah, and Tom, you were at Bristol. Unfortunately, they're not in BUCS Super at the moment. They got close in a playoff last year. But you're here because a bit of international stardust, but student rugby is very important to you because it provided the pathway to England.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the experiences I gained playing at university, playing at Bristol, were invaluable in terms of going forward. It was the first time, we had a pretty good setup at Bristol Uni at the time. It was the first opportunity I had to train with people who were with professional clubs at the time, or championship clubs, and it gave me a taste of that, and then pushed me on to play representative stuff, England students, things like that, and that's how you get picked up. And if we didn't play internationally for the English students back then, we wouldn't get exposed, whereas now the boys are getting great exposure on a weekly basis. And that's what they want, these budding young stars, you know, want to be playing on a big stage in front of some you know, people who are watching, coaches who can pick them up.
Yeah, and you're not unique, especially in England Sevens. Loads of your boys came through the uni system and got picked up by GB students.
Yeah, so a lot of us came through either England students with the 15s programme or the GB student sevens. And there's a lot of our guys in our squad who have been to university, got their degrees, and then after uni gone on to play professionally. And I think it's great to have the experience at university as well. You go into professional rugby that bit older, that bit wiser, dare I say it. And I think it serves us well actually as a squad.
Okay, so talking of young starlets, Ben, who have we got our eyes on for Durham tonight?
Durham, there's a few. There's the obvious ones. You've got Justin Clegg, second rower, playing in the 20s last year. He's involved with Worcester. You've got Charlie, the two Charlies in the centres who are both really good players. And there's three in the back row, really workhorses. And if you watch closely, you do a lot of unseen work tonight.
Yeah, I mean, looking through your team, there's smattering of talent throughout it, but also a range of years as well. I know he's a first year, but you've got Tom Catterick playing at 10. How valuable is it having someone with over 100 Premiership caps pulling the strings at 10?
Yeah, I mean, you bring Tom into your team, he brings a lot of experience, Premiership level, you know, he's played in European fixtures as well. In that pivotal position of 10, he's doing a fair bit of introing in the coaching as well, so he's been valuable really to have him in the side.
Like the young boys must be loving it. I know the inside centre, he's 18 years old, he's got Tom Catterick feeding him the seed all night. They must be loving it.
Yeah, as I said, it's invaluable to have someone like that with all that experience coming from the professional game to filter down into university stuff. For a young lad on the inside and the outside of him at 9 as well, he's brilliant.
And Durham, when we were chatting before the season started, Hugo, you felt that Durham underachieved, or they would have been underachieved is the wrong word. They would have been disappointed with their quarter-final exit in the knockouts last year.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to Bath at home, and on paper, you look to that game and you look to the fact they were at home. You know, big crowd there. They should have won that game. They didn't perform under the lights anywhere near where they could do, and I feel there's a bit of revenge for this side now. Not obviously not tonight. They're playing Exeter, but they want to get back to where they know they should be. They should be in the top 4 of this BUCS Super League. They'll be looking to get to that semi-final and push on from there. Who knows? With Tom Catterick at 10, it makes a whole difference to this squad. Everyone else can feed off it outside him. With the guys in the front row, they get a platform for Tom Catterick. There's a real opportunity for this Durham side.
Well, they started very, very brightly, 31-0 against Bath. It's the first time any team has ever been shot at in BUCS Super Rugby. So, are you building your performances off the fence?
I think it was a night for that. The Durham City pitch can be quite heavy, and it was a bit rainy and wet that evening, as most Durham evenings are on a Wednesday night. But yeah, I mean, it's marshalled terrifically. Gareth Nesbitt's doing some great work on the defensive side of the ball, and it really paid dividends in that game. I mean, at half-time 0-0. You don't get many of them, do you?
I was going to say, you promise you're not going to deliver a 0-0 for us tonight. We got the crowds out in their droves. There's a bit of a vibe here tonight. Is that going to have a positive or a negative impact on the boys?
You never know. I mean, hopefully it'll be positive. There's a lot of goodwill, a lot of old boys coming out from the city, from Durham. Hopefully it adds a little bit of spice to the event, and the lads react really well to it.
Okay, good stuff. All right, so let's look at the opposition they're taking on. BUCS heavyweights. A lot of people's tips to win. A secret tip of yours, maybe, Hugo?
Yeah, I said in that first game away at Nottingham Trent, the new boys to the BUCS Super League, to make it 9 rather than 8 teams. I said that Exeter would be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. They showed in that first game defensively how good they were, and we were expecting them to feed off their defence. They've got serious attacking ability. You look at Ted Landry at 12. He really pulls the strings, and for me, add that to the dominant back row that they've had for many years. They lost Tom Lauday last year, but James McRae this year has just filled in perfectly for him. They tend to get a good platform. They've got good structure in their game. Keith Fleming, Hayden Thomas, they create a really good structure within this Exeter side. They play like Exeter Chiefs do in the Premiership.
Yeah.
But they've also got, as I say, someone who can pull the string, someone who can make things happen in Ted Landry. And I expect them tonight to score more points like they did last week, where they scored 53 against Northumbria.
Right, so speaking of back play, we've got someone who knows a little bit about scoring points. Last week, Exeter, they scored 5 tries from their back 3 in a 53-50 epic. You played on this pitch a number of times, I'm imagining. It's a fast track. Is that going to play to the back strengths? What's the 4G like compared to turf?
Yeah, so we get the experience of a couple of 4G surfaces on the Sevens World Series. I've got mixed feelings about it. I think I still choose grass over it probably, but not on a wet night. As we have been blessed with a warm one tonight, so hopefully we should be seeing some real speeds out there from the guys. And it's the guys with good feet, the steppers, who love it, because you're going to get traction from the turf. And so it should lead to a lot of exciting rugby for sure. Boys can move the ball around because you don't get that greasy ball as much as you do with grass. So it should lead to a lot of tries tonight, and which would be great because there's such a good crowd that's come down.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you ever have nights like this when you were playing at university? There's expected to be 3,000 people here tonight.
I would have dreamt of it. I mean, we at Bristol Uni, we were lucky if we had 100 people down at Coombe Dingle on Sundays, the glory days. But we were well supported in our own way, but we never really had an event like this. And this is the beauty of the BUCS Super Rugby, connecting with the alumni, getting them down, and then a chance for everyone to enjoy themselves.
What would be your advice to the lads to harness this energy into positivity and go out there and smash it tonight?
Well, there's nothing like a bit of alumni support from the sideline, a few of the old boys and ladies on the beers coming in, maybe giving you abuse or encouragement, we'll see, I'm not sure which. But no doubt that will spur them on. I mean, it's great as well being here under the lights at night time, a lovely warm evening down here at Rosslyn Park. I mean, it's a beautiful place to come and play some rugby, and these guys, it's early on in the season, I'm sure they're very hungry for it.
Yeah, I imagine so. So we were talking about the back row a second. Ben, there's no expert better than you to be talking about this. Have you taken a look at Exeter's back row? They've got James McRae, they've got this executioner, Luke Pierre-Rieu, who just runs around ending people. How important are they going to be to mitigate in this game?
Yeah, look, they've got massive threats across the pitch. The back row are really good. They're hard over the ball. They carry really well. Hugo touched on it. The 10 and 12, they've got ball players, which is why they managed to put 53 points on Northumbria. we'll be looking tonight as a Durham team to make our tackles, make it hard for them and not give them the ability to do that. So not give them any gain line, make sure we get low shots from our back row. So like Joe Duffy, Harbison and Fowles in the back row will be really looking to step up, stop them behind the gain line and put us on the front foot.
So without giving away the master plan too much, what is Durham's game plan? What are they going to do to win this game?
It's the same as any game really. A lot of pressure in defence. You try and intimidate as much as you can and get off the line. And in attack, just maintain possession and make sure the pressure is put on them the whole game.
Just to touch on that, we watched the Nottingham-Trent game. In that first half, Exeter were totally dominant by everything on the front foot. You know, Dubois and Aaron Bagwell, when they got front foot ball, and Ted Landry, they completely dominated. That second half, as soon as they got smashed at source, first phase, line out drives, got sacked, they lost their shape, they lost control of the game. That is what these Durham guys will have to do tonight. If they can get up in defence on that first phase and put pressure on this Exeter first phase attack, they'll go a long way to winning the game.
So do you think the Exeter team can be rattled?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Ooh, big talk, big talk. Well, big talk from you, but we got some talk from the coaches who we spoke to earlier. So we got a bit of footage to hear what Keith Fleming and Alex Key had to say about the game. Alex, thanks for joining us. 31-0 last week, the perfect start. You must be delighted.
Yeah, I think to get a shutout, although we're not trying to be a negative team, I think you obviously try and build from the back. So defence is really important, and to get a nil, I think it's the first nil in Super Rugby, so pleased with that, yeah.
And a 0-0 at half-time, in fact. So your big second-half team, obviously.
I think there was a bit of a blinking contest going on in the first half, but to be fair, they'd played a game and we hadn't, so I kind of think we were just checking each other out a little bit early on. There was a lot of nervousness. Two sides really not giving an inch, so hence 0-0.
And moving on to today, huge occasion down at Rosslyn Park, engaging the alumni. The boys must be fizzing.
Yeah, quietly, very quiet at the moment, which, you know, I don't know whether it's the calm before the storm. I'm hoping it is. But yeah, I think the boys are looking forward to it. It's going to be a big occasion. We've got our alumni coming, so yeah, really looking forward to it.
And what do you make about today's opposition?
They're always strong. Exeter always strong. They're always going to be a game, hard, tough game. So I don't think there's going to be any gimmies on this. I'd like to think they always think we're pretty strong as well. So
I think we're in for a good game. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Hang on. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, there's a little bit of insight from Alex Key. He's a top man, isn't he? And he's got a really big vision about the pathway for students, not just young undergrads, but also players in the professional sector. Talk to me about that.
Well, yeah, just speaking to beforehand, you can't really appreciate how much goes into it and how much planning goes into, you know, if you're losing X amount of third years, what the next breed coming through is like. And you know, he does a great job. Uni rugby is so very much cyclical. You know, you can have we talked about this earlier, 1 year a brilliant side, and suddenly you lose a lot of guys. You've got to make sure that your succession planning is spot on, and that's what he's key at.
Yeah,
pun.
yeah. Very good, Hugo. I'm usually the one with the gag today, but anyway. But he was saying though that so Tom Cashett, to use an example, he's played pro for 7 years or more, and he's now come to university. He's an undergrad, so he's doing a first year now. He'll be there for 3 years. Do you think it's going to be a legitimate option for players who've been pro and then they want to get an education so they're not missing out on university in its entirety?
Well, I think it works both ways. You know, Tom was speaking earlier about how there's more guys going to university, getting their degree, and then coming out the other side. I think you mature more and you become a better rugby player. People at 18, 19 these days don't necessarily get an opportunity, potentially as much as they may have done. So you're almost better, you know, going to university, giving your education a chance, and then going pro at 21. You've matured, you've got the physical attributes 3 years later. So there's that way of looking at it, and then there's the other side where you're Tom Catterick and you've played 106 times for Newcastle Falcons, and you've got an opportunity to come into this game having probably not quite made it, but still getting an opportunity to go and get your degree. So, yeah, it's a great opportunity. This level of rugby is becoming better and better, and it's just great to see.
I know that you were discovered through student rugby, but there's such a larger focus on it now. Is there real eyes on it from an England Sevens point of view or an England wider point of view?
Yeah, so certainly with our England Sevens set up, now we've got our academy structure in place, and we have done for the last couple of years. Well, a lot of the guys who left the academy last year went on to play at university. So they're on the radar, those guys. They've been in, they've learned a huge amount, hopefully, from being in the program for a year, and they're going on to pursue their studies, give themselves other options potentially going forward, but they're still on the radar. And equally, there are guys who are on sort of university contracts with England Sevens as well. So a few guys who are going and doing full-time degrees, but in their weeks off, or when the academy guys have tournaments and the guys are able to get off uni, they'll come and they'll join the squad for the week, do the training. So there's a connection that's maintained throughout that time, and they're kind of getting the best of both worlds in some respects.
That's really interesting. I mean, Ben, you went to Durham. What value did you have going to university before you went pro as a player?
Well, sorry, what was that?
What value did you have, being at Durham before going pro as a player?
It was a different time, a completely different era, but it does give you the ability to grow as a bloke. As you guys said, you come through and you're 18, you're a child at the end of the day. You might think you're an adult, but those 3 years are massive in terms of your development.
Yeah.
I think you find here, Justin Clegg as an example, he's leading now, he's the captain of the team, he's leading on the previews, the reviews you do. He probably wouldn't be doing that in a professional environment at this stage in his career.
Yeah.
So for him, he's getting all that experience, so he can come out at 21, 22 with 3 years of really leading in a Durham University team.
I don't want to bash the A-League too much because everyone's giving it a bad rap in the papers at the moment, but a lot of these guys get to play in a team where they're actually trying to win a piece of silverware and they're building a team mentality, rather than we were saying that when you're in the A-League, you're trying to get out of the A-League as a player. Do you think that's important to player development?
Yeah, I think it is. I think if the A-League's done correctly, it can be a really good tool for development. I mean, I was in a Leicester team that won the A-League, and it was one of the best things we did. At the time, you don't want to do it because you want to be in the first team, but we had a really settled team. We went through and we won the league, and it was a really great experience, and all the guys in that team will look on that time fondly. But you look at some of the games now and you get some real mismatches, and it's guys with 5 or 6 guest players playing. I don't think it does anybody any good because there's no real development in that.
Yeah, and these guys are building a team culture amongst themselves that they're going to remember for years to come.
Yeah, and I think the standard and the competition is much better now. Like even last year, in the first year, you had your top 4 teams, maybe 5 teams. They were a long way ahead of the bottom 3 in the BUCS Super Rugby League. You've now got 9 teams, maybe Nottingham Trent finding their feet a bit. Yeah. The other 8 teams, Leeds Beckett last year, whitewashed the whole season. They're now right up at the top. So it's really competitive now, and it's exciting to see, and it gives them, everyone in this league, a bit of an edge.
So you mentioned the teams that are prospering and the teams that aren't doing so well. It is a big old sporting cliche, but you don't know who's going to win this league.
No, I think it's very much up in the air this year. I mean, I would say the teams that maybe are struggling a bit, Bath aren't probably as strong as they have been. They've lost a few games, but other than that, and Nottingham Trent as well. But the other 7 teams, I think any of those 7 teams on their day could win it. And it's just about getting a bit of consistency, a bit of momentum to get the performances in throughout the year.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bath are having a bit of a tough time, obviously, having lost 3, and they're welcoming Loughborough next, who are looking pretty crashed off. So, okay, right, so teams just beginning to go back in, and they're head-banging, slapping the backsides of each other, doing what forwards do. We need to remind you that we're very, very social here. The hashtag is BUCS Super Rugby, so tweet in your views, your questions, any questions for the boys. They're going to be back at half-time, happy to field the questions. So I'm going to throw you up to Jack, who's in the commentary booth. He's going to run you through the teams and the minutiae, and we'll see you at half-time.
Well, thank you, Joe. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to The Rock in southwest London, the home of Rosslyn Park Football Club, at 138 years and still counting, one of the oldest rugby clubs in the land. Kickoff is around about 8 minutes away, which gives us plenty of time to talk through the runes of both clubs' seasons so far, and both teams as well. Starting with Durham, well, Alex Kay told us in the build-up how he has the luxury of being able to pick from the same side he picked in the last round. Star men to watch out for: number 10, Tom Catterick, former Newcastle Falcons, over 106 senior appearances for him with that club, and he's playing outside a young man at number 9 and has an even younger man outside him at 12 as well. So the experience of Tom Catterick vital to Durham's chances in this one. Elsewhere in the pack, mark the card of number 5, Justin Clegg, Durham's captain. and England under 20. For Exeter, 2 changes to the side which beat Northumbria 53 points to 50 in the last round. Quite incredible score that. The new men, Max Himbury, number 14, comes into the side. And number 1, Josh Peters as well. Peters will be looking to anchor a scrum which was slightly undone in the first match against Nottingham Trent. He's replacing Will Cutbill, who drops to the bench. Watch out for Sal Mbogi at fullback. Switching to number 15 shirt after lining up on the wing due to the Mike Haynes not in the side for this one. So here we are at the Rock. Joe talked you through the interesting element to this match being played more than 200 miles away from Durham. It's nominally a home game for the men in purple, but just actually, if anything, even closer to Exeter. Both sides have alumni coming down for this one. Joe mentioned in build-up around about 3,000 expected here. Probably only about half that at the moment. And on the far side, you won't see them filling on that stand. They're coming all underneath us from where our cameras are. Durham in their traditional purple blazers. And it's at this point that I'm delighted to be joined up in the gantry by Hugo Southwell. Hugo, you've hot-footed it across from the preamble with Joe, and we've got about 5 minutes until kick-off, as we just see Andy Key in our screens there, discussing last-minute things with his coaching staff. Durham, Hugo, if I heard correctly from the build-up, you think they could possibly spring a surprise against Exeter in this one?
Yeah, I think they've got a real chance tonight. I think Tom Catterick coming into the mix at 10 just provides that sort of stability between backs and forwards, that link that they desperately needed from last year. And it'd be interesting to see how they start. At a place alien to both teams, at Rosslyn Park, at the Rock. Really, really looking forward to see both teams for the first time. Well, Exeter we've seen already a couple of times, but Durham. Really looking forward to seeing what they can produce on what will be a fast surface tonight.
It's no surprise to many of our watchers, viewers and listeners as Hugo Southwell just bumps his head on our gantry. Apologies for that. It is quite a little pokey gantry up here at Rosslyn Park, but it has a charm of its own, I'm finding, and bumping our heads is clearly part of that. We've mentioned Exeter's back row and how strong they are. Alex Key, Durham's head of rugby, was talking in the build-up, and although he admits how good Exeter's back row are, he quite fancies his 3 at the back as well. The likes of Joe Duffy, Ethan Harbinson, who he describes as a mongrel at number 7, and Ben Fowles, a fresher who was part of Worcester Warriors' senior academy last season. They do have to probably step up for this, but they have got the class, it seems, to be able to do that. Yeah, they've got class in key positions. That's the key thing this year. It's not just Catterick. They've got the Fowles at number 8. Has been involved with Worcester. They've also got. He talked so strongly about Justin Clegg and Colin Markham in the second row. He said they are as a combination, as a team, the best 2 second rows in this competition. And that's a big statement 2 games in. But he honestly believes that, and he believes he's got a pack that when they went to Bath, they bullied them. Bath are a massive set of forwards, but they absolutely dominated them up front, and that gives them the platform. You're dominating up front, you give a platform to Tom Catterick, the rest is history. Crucial to the dominance in the scrum for Durham to achieve that will be Diego Haas Ferreira, the number 3. He's a Portuguese international, winning 2 caps earlier this year for his national side. He also played 54 minutes for Sale against Leicester in the Aviva Premiership earlier this year, so really is a talent to watch out for at number 3. As we just see at the top of our screens, Exeter entering the field of play. Nominally the away side today, but both sides having had an inordinate number of hours in the bus to get here. 7 hours for Durham, a little bit under that for Exeter, but that's not easy to shake off, is it, Hugo? What can you do when you have such long travel like that?
Yeah, that's the interesting part of this, is that the first 20 minutes, we talk about cliches and what team's going to react best to that, but this first 20 minutes is absolutely crucial. I mean, first 10 minutes, it's not even 20 minutes, 10 minutes, who can start the best? Because rugby, as we know, and especially in university rugby, we've noted this over many games in university rugby, it's all about momentum. And there's a lot of momentum shifts throughout the game. Who can start that first 10 minutes, with the most momentum? And Exeter will take the kick off. Can they do it?
Exeter, indeed, kicking things off. It will be number 10, Sam Morley, who has the ball in his hands. We're under starters' orders. And our referee tonight, the man in the middle, Luke Davies, will be officiating things. Morley goes long, taken by Ben Fowles, Durham's number 8. Durham chase hard, and that in itself fielded by Fowles' opposite man tonight, James McRae in the blue scrum hat for Exeter. Such an important player for them, so crucial to their go forward. Morley finds Landry, finds the new man Himbry out on the left wing. Exeter going through the forwards, trying to test out Durham's first 5-minute defence, Hugo. So far, the men in purple staying resolute. Chip in from Morley, a good 1-2. Just forcing Rory Hardman to turn, and he had to just usher that out in the end. Structured and well organised from Exeter here.
Yeah, exactly what Exeter, we talk about Exeter as a team. They coach very well by both Keith Fleming and Hayden Thomas. They do play very much like Exeter Chiefs. I said it at the top of the show. What they do well is the decision making. They've got a left foot option with Morley, right foot with Ted Landry. If there is nothing on, if they get stopped on 3, 4, 5th phase, they've got an option to kick either side, and that's exactly what he did. If they can get the execution right, which Morley did there, it's going to be a hard evening for Durham.
And that kick giving an interesting question being asked to the man on your screens there, Harry Barron, Durham's hooker. First opportunity for him to find his man, and he does. Extra hands climbing all over it, but Harry Bassett does get in the box kick and puts very decent distance on that. Durham's forwards will be mightily pleased with their scrum half. Turn of around about 25 metres from that box.
Yeah, and if you've been put under pressure from the kick from Morley, he's got it down there. You've got to win your line out. You've got to get your exit plays right, and that's exactly what they did. On the money, caught it cleanly, and a brilliant box kick. Clearance kick from the Durham 9.
Gosling finds Ryu, the number 6. Such a hard hitter in defence, but used in the line out there. Morley goes over the top. Max Himbry has to go back and slips. McRae ploughs forward. Now this is Felix Madison, highly rated former Dulwich College captain. Landry, good hands. Kelly, now Linsell. Captain fantastic is Simon Linsell for Exeter. Top try scorer in the side, no less, and that's from the second row. Landry, quick hands, but he was well watched. Turnover from Charlie Wilson. Now the turn of Durham's captain, Justin Clegg, the number 5 there, taking it forward. And Exeter come fast out of defence. Norman takes it up the outside centre. Catterick, the ex-Newcastle Falcon, at fly half. Such an important role he has to play for Durham if they are to turnover Exeter in this one. Important to remember, of course, this being technically a home game for Durham, being played down here at Rosslyn Park if you're just joining us. We're in southwest London for Exeter versus Durham. It doesn't quite figure, but it's done to engage Durham's London alumni network. And you can hear the chants on the far side from the men in purple jackets. Tristan Rawcliffe gets his first chance to pick a hole in Exeter's defence. Clegg again works a nice offload for the Portuguese international, Hasse Ferreira. Durham showing their own structure against Exeter at the moment, and working another offload. Hasse Ferreira out the tackle. Durham edge into Exeter's 22. Bassett finds Clegg, who then finds George Hogan, number 1. That's Duffy, the combative blindside flanker. Now Catterick, cut out pass. This could be a chance for Durham, cutting inside. So close to the line. Madison is in there for Durham.
In the tackle, leave it!
Ball's turned over by Exeter. McRae somehow comes away with that. Desperate on the line defending by Exeter University.
Use it!
And Morley goes for the exit. Doesn't find touch though, so breathless stuff here at Rosslyn Park. Durham come again. Tom Lewis getting over the 10-metre line. Harry Barron trundles up the hooker. Now Hasse Ferreira can only knock it forward from his foot though. So no knock on at all, and penalty to Durham. Well, what a fast beginning from Durham. What play from them?
Yeah, we can take a breath, can't we? I mean, that was end-to-end stuff. Well, Durham had dominant possession there, and what they did so well is they just kept hold of the ball, just went through the phases, nothing too flashy, just got over the gain line each time, and when the opportunity came out wide, put the right winger in space, and they've got a penalty from their rewards there. Just rewards for all their good work.
And interesting to see Catterick going for the nudge into the corner. No think of going to goal. Well, Durham have had their misfortune or bad luck or just failure from the tee in this tournament. Last year, they had 2 kicks at goal to try and get them into the semi-finals against Bath. Charlie Norman, the man in the number 13 shirt on your screen, was the man who stepped up and took the kicks, and both of them missing the second attempt, agonisingly hitting the post. That paid for them last year.
I know, let's take it out and have a look.
Their hopes this year, just the same, to go as far as they can in the BUCS Super Rugby League and Championship. Exeter, of course, made that final last year and had their own misfortune in that final, 14-3 up, and then had to see Hartbury come back at them and take the title. It is a tough old league, and it is punishing if you do make mistakes.
Yeah, we know how good that Hartbury side are. You know, even at 14-3, they saw an opportunity. You know, they went and got the treble last year. Brilliant work from them, and this Exeter side is a side that will be at the top of this league for years to come. They've got quality all over the pitch. But Durham are a side after last year, having lost that quarter-final at home to Bath, when they were a better side last year than Bath. They will be smarting from that. I know, having spoken to Alex Key last year a lot, they were bitterly disappointed by that, and they'll want to put it down a marker. They already have so far this season in the first 2 games. This is their first proper test where they want to send a message out to the rest of the league.
Well, lining up here, Durham going for one of the shorter line-out options. Only 2 men in the line at the moment, and Justin Clegg, the towering number 5 for Durham, perhaps poised to join them. We'll have to wait and see. As one of Durham's other second rows seems to be coming off, being replaced by Kai Devine, who's on a little bit earlier than he perhaps expected. Colin Markham with the physio accompanying him off. Barron with the ball in his hands. Excellent start this from Durham, but that's not an excellent throw by any means. Barron off target, and Exeter recover the ball.
Take him back in.
Landry
Take him back in. Take him back in.
puts a high one onto Rawcliffe, who's met by a very flat line from Exeter. Great chase from them. Rawcliffe does well to get round one, but bundled into touch. That is quite an impressive Wolfpack-esque advancing from Exeter.
Yeah, Woody did well though, Rawcliffe. As he went out, he felt he was going into touch. He just got the ball back in with an inside flick, and it came off Exeter, so at least they've got the ball back. What Durham can't afford to do is, when they get territory, when they get possession, throw and overthrow. You know, they've got to take their opportunities. Against a side like Exeter, you have to make your opportunities.
Great chase from them. Rawcliffe does well to get round one, but bundled into touch. That is Clegg, towers high. Catterick finds Harbinson. Offload to Wilson. Catterick, hard and flat pass. Norman took it on. Now Clegg rumbles forward and steps out of one tackle. Gosling it was who was herring out of the line, the hooker. And break up through the middle from Fowles. Lovely spot from the number 8. Penalty though, Exeter just isolated and holding on to the ball.
Yeah, brilliant work on the floor from Max Himbry. That's exactly what you want for your winger. He sees that Ben Fowles was isolated there. He made a break. We talked about the big players stepping up. He saw the gap around the break down there, Ben Fowles, and made a brilliant initial break. The first man there, Max Himbry, for a winger, outstanding work.
Yeah, Himbry in the side with Mike Haynes dropping out.
Just see there, you said Fowles around the break down there. That's exactly what they need to do. They need to spot their opportunities. He saw it there, it opened up, the Exeter defence fanned out, and he took the opportunities. It's a shame they couldn't build on that.
Now Landry plays 10. Finds Kelly in the midfield. McRae now comes in at first receiver. Morley pops it off to the fullback Mbogi. Simon Mbogi appeared for Exeter Chiefs in the Singer Sevens earlier this summer.
5 release!
Dubois to Morley. Ball pops out of the tackle though, and it's Norman who came away with it. Now back over to Exeter. Breathless stuff at the Rock in the opening 15 minutes.
Advantage over!
Mbogi's show and go. Josh Peters, the new man in the pack, with a run, and Morley saw half a gap, but it closed up pretty quickly.
Nice speed.
Landry chips through, possibly for himself. Rawcliffe had to be sharp and was, but threw it out back into his own 22. Duffy, the only one aware of what had happened. And penalty to Exeter. Well, Hugo, as an international fullback, I'll leave that one to you to assess.
Yeah, brilliant work from, first of all, from Landry. What's been happening is they've been trying to go wide. They've almost been trying to go wide too early. They haven't earned the respect, Exeter, against this Durham defence, which is flying up. First 4 or 5 defenders are really coming up and putting pressure on Landry and Morley at 10 and 12. And they haven't. As soon as Morley went tight there, he decided to go himself. It sucked in a few defenders, gave Ted Landry a bit of space in the outside channel, and a perfect option. Just put that nudge in, that pass back inside from Rawcliffe. We've already seen it once, an attempt. He tried it again there. It could have gone anywhere. in the end, brilliant work on the floor by Exeter, and they've got a just deserved penalty, but smarter play from Exeter. You know, they went close, Morley attacked close to the line, and then a little kick in behind from Landry, putting pressure on. They've got to mix their game up against this good Durham defence so far.
Landry, the inside centre, lining this one up. Straight enough to take the points. Exeter 3-0 after 14 minutes. Landry adds 3 more points to his tally for the season, up to 29. He's got a long way to go to match last season's tally. He scotched 186 points last season.
Yeah, not only is he invaluable off the tee, Ted Landry, he really gets their attack game going, and the combination of him and Morley at 10 and 12 really, I believe, will take Exeter Uni to a new level this year.
Yes, Morley has looked like a real live wire at 10, hasn't he?
He's a good footballer, Morley. You can see him, he likes to take the ball to the line. He's got a good passing game and the left-footed option, so a good balance to his game.
As a left-footer yourself, Hugo, when you were playing, how difficult is it? How can you use that to your advantage as a kicker?
Well, I think just with the balance in the team, you know, if you've got a 10 and 12 who are put left and right-footed, you can off a midfield scrum, off any ruck that's the middle of the pitch.
As we see Tristan Rawcliffe come away and do a much better job with that offload in attack than he did moments earlier in defence. Now Harbinson. Durham will like it when things break up and they have a chance to attack a less organised Exeter defence. Quick hands out of the tackle. That was Barron. And now this is opening up for Devine. The replacement lock storming towards the line. This will be the first try for Durham. And it goes to Kai Devine. Just come on the pitch. And Durham take the lead.
And you can see why he's being touted for Wales 7's absolute turn of pace for a big second row. And out of nothing, really, you just feel that that's where Durham's points are going to come from. You know, they haven't got the same structure that Exeter have got. They haven't got the game breakers necessarily. But what they have got is every time the game breaks up, they've got guys that make the most of it. And we saw there, Kai Devine, brilliant turn of speed there in the corner, really out of nothing. It came from a high ball, dropped by the big second row. I think may have been Lindsell, the captain for Exeter in midfield. And from there, they just managed to turn it around. From 3-4 phases later, a try in the corner for Devine. A brilliant way of responding straight back into the game for Durham.
Or one for Tom Mitchell to pour over at half-time, perhaps. But Devine, yeah, hotly tipped and represented Wales in the summer, as you say, Hugo. Represents them out in Poland. And now it's Tom Catterick, whose conversion attempt doesn't quite have the legs. So the score stays at 5-3 to Durham.
And after the start they've had defensively, they've been defending sort of middle of the pitch for most of the game, Durham, but there showed what they could do off broken play. When the game breaks up a bit, still got the ability, still got the individuals to make things like that happen.
Foul spins out of the chase. Bassett with another high box kick. Could chase 2 Harbinsons after this. Cleared up well by Greg Dubois. Madison plays scrum half. Linslet was who tidied it up, but Exeter struggling to get clean ball from that ruck. McRae, Dubois, now Jack Rouse, who has quite an engine on him, doesn't the number 5. Joe Duffy finds space in Harbinson, back to Duffy. Good interlinking play from the back row duo. Catterick. Devine has to stoop for it, but does really well. Now Wilson slips one tackle. Looks to get the offload away and does to his outside centre partner Norman. Bassett now fouls. With ball in hand, it's all Durham here at Rosslyn Park, and now comes through the captain, Justin Clegg. Clegg slips an offload as well, and it's Norman who goes over for Durham's second in 3 minutes. Durham really taking this one to Exeter at Rosslyn Park.
Yeah, and Alex Key talked about Justin Clegg before the game. How cool did that look? Got through as if he had so much time on his hands. What a brilliant offload to Charlie Norman. The support lines were good. The eagerness of this Durham side is exciting to watch. Every time a break is made, there's support players there, there's guys attacking the ball, just wanting to get on the end of it. Whether it's the buzz of this crowd, whether it feels like a home fixture to them. You can see here, just flooding through. And what an offload. This is under pressure. Great support line from Charlie Norman, and there he is for their second try. But it came from an initial break from Charlie Wilson. Again, Alex Key taught beforehand, this 18-year-old playing outside Tom Catterick, someone who's got 106 caps for Newcastle Falcons. Huge experience alongside a youngster, but a quality player. Charlie Wilson, this guy at this number 12, one to look out for the future.
And that time, the ex-Newcastle Falcon does put it through the posts. Well, Catterick, he's played every position in the backline for Newcastle Falcons, so he's got empathy for different positions around, and Norman, as well as Wilson, benefiting from that.
Yeah, and what we've seen so far is that, Catterick, yes, he's had a solid start to the game, but everything that's come so far has been from this aggressive defence from Durham. It's from turnovers, it's from scraps. They've just fed brilliantly off the scraps so far. Haven't necessarily constructed a game like Exeter like to do. They've just fed off their defensive press, which has been outstanding so far.
Fouls again. It was the number 8 for Durham tidying that up, but it's turned over. Now Exeter a chance, if they can, to wrest control on this game. It's a disorganised defence on the far-hand side, and Bogey looks to take advantage straight away. Exeter on the counter after that try, but the mistake comes in just for a moment. Salem Bogey's eyes lit up.
Advantage over.
Another very decent box kick. The exit strategy working for Durham at the moment.
And it's interesting, I still feel at 12-3, Exeter still look, when they get the ball, when they go through the phases, they still look more dangerous. It's far harder work at the moment for Durham. Durham has scored off scraps, but if Durham construct phases, it's taking 7, 8, 9 phases to make any ground. Exeter hold the ball for 3 phases, that they're going to get points, but at the moment, they're coughing up possession far too readily early on in the phase play.
McRae takes on another carry. Not been his side's night so far, but
use it!
Certainly getting through the work is James McRae. Dubois with the box kick. Super chase and well put right on Rory Hardman. Under the lights here. The knock-on comes. Jack Rouse. Landry plays 10 and switches play. Picks his way through. Does Ted Landry, so dangerous when he comes back against the grain like that. Peters. Linsell and Rouse drive a hole through Durham's defence there, the 2 second row. Morley cutting back again, and Luke Pierre-Rieu on the left-hand wing. The number 6, now McRae. Linsell again. Doesn't need Rouse so much this time. Batters a hole himself. It was Duffy who took him down. Morley. Exeter looking really sharp now, but then the error comes.
10 out! Thank you, that's fine.
Durham have that crucial chance to reorganise. And another knock-on. Unforced error that, no pressure on him really. Durham have the scrum.
Yeah, and it came from, again, this defensive press. The first 4 or 5 defenders are just saying they know they've done a lot of research on this Exeter attacking play. They know that after that first forward hit up off the 9, they're going to try and get out the back. They're either going to have a runner out the front who's going to run a dummy line, and they're going to get out the back. And they're putting huge pressure on both Morley and Ted Landry, and they're forcing errors out of them, uncharacteristic errors. And you've got to give credit to Durham. Yes, there's mistakes from Exeter, but Durham's defence is putting huge pressure on this attacking game of Exeter. And we saw this against Nottingham Trent. Brilliant when they're on the front foot, but when they're put under pressure off multi-phase, off first phase play as well, they can falter. And at the moment, that's what's happening. The big thing for Durham is, can they keep this up for 80 minutes? It's a big ask physically and the way they play their game. They've got to keep the scoreboard ticking over as well themselves.
They'll not want for vocal support here, Durham. Joe's estimate of 3,000. Well, I'd say it's still a little bit under that, but it's getting on for it round here at the Rock.
Okay.
You have to say, great effort to bring the game down here. Two teams have travelled a long way to play this game, but a huge alumni of both Exeter and Durham in the city. So, great first year to start this initiative, and hopefully it'll be the same for years to come.
Time is back on referee
5,
Luke Davis's watch.
Set.
Durham's scrum
Use
does
it now,
just about
use it!
get the nudge on. Fouls, tidies up, and Bassett puts in a kick. And Bogey goes round Fouls, goes round Duffy as well. Linsell. Morley switching play with Landry in support. Landry ghosting round, so easy. Pops the ball back inside as well. Landry takes it off the floor.
No, 7! No, leave it, 7!
Great play from Ted Landry, bringing in his right wing, Himbry, in that play.
Penalty advantage.
Dubois, Morley goes out wide. And now this could be Exeter getting back a score in the shape of Dom Thorne, rather. The pint-sized winger popping up at the right time.
Yeah, and that's where they're so dangerous, when they mix their game up well. They went 2 phases to the left, they then came back down the blind side, a 21 we used to call it, 2 phases one way, then back the other way. Brilliant execution. Landry, the playmaker, the guy that just makes things happen, a ball in 2 hands. As he came back down the blind side, absolutely brilliant work. And then the variation, hit up with the forwards. They went out the back this time, but they'd sucked in the numbers, and the space was opened up by the pace of Dom Thorne there. I think he scored a few tries already this year, Dom Thorne, and he knows where the try line is, certainly.
Following a try in his last game with that one there. Big fend as well, wasn't it, from a small man?
Just see here the pass, brilliant ball from Morley, just got him on the outside of the defender there, and he was just able to get the fend on as well to take him. The outside defence just read the wider play, and the space opened up on the inside. And
Charlie Norman, it was the man who bit the dust. Can Landry convert? He does.
Yeah, and I really do like the way that Landry just sits in behind there. He's a second. They can play a close game, they can play a wider game with Landry in there, just with that wide pass off both hands. That time he held on to it, that time he made a break. He's got a bit of pace as well. And you have to say, the last few minutes of play, they deserve to get back in this game, this Exeter side. And never write off Exeter. They have got enough quality in this team to go for 80 minutes.
12-10 to Durham. Exeter right back in this now, as we knew they would be. Such a quality side. Rawcliffe. Tackled by Rouse. Fouls. Charging forward again, the number 8. Now Clegg round the back to Catterick, who sets off upfield, putting a fend in on Landry, and the offload out the back to Norman. Windmill dummy. Then it goes to ground afterwards, though. Lively play from Durham's backs.
Yeah, you can see what he's trying to do. Initial break, half break by Tom Catterick. Charlie Norman just the outside of the tackle. As he went through here, you can see just a sort of almost a double pump. He tries to give it there. By that stage, Rory Hardman's just a bit flat on him, and it's just gone behind him. Partly down to being too flat, partly down to a poor pass from Charlie Norman. Could he have given it earlier and put his winger in space?
Plenty of experience in that right-hand wide channel for Durham. Rory Hardman, the longest serving member of this Durham side. This is 47th appearance for the first team.
You do feel if they get opportunities like that, they have to take them. You know, for me, it felt like a 2-on-1. Charlie Norman, quality player. We've seen, having just scored that try, they've got to make the most of it. Put your winger in space.
Exeter looking to construct that phase play once more. Mboge, McRae. Morley, over the top it goes. Linsell picks it up on the left-hand side. Looked for an instance as if he was going to kick it, but put his head down in the end.
No one! All is there.
Morley has McRae with him, but he goes back behind, and Kelly puts in a nice offload too. Coming up the middle. Here come Exeter again. Can they get their second try?
No, don't go in, Rock.
That should have gone, but here come the cavalry for Exeter. Morley picks it up, but knocking on him. Hugo Southwell, you've got your head in your hands after that one.
Serve the guys below me, Hayden Thomas and Keith Fleming. That was an open goal. Not only did he have an inside support player he could have put under the sticks. You see here the break, absolutely outstanding in the first place from George Gosling. But then here, look at the support runners. James McRae, he runs at that last defender and he's got his prop under the sticks. That doesn't happen very often from 60 metres. But then they still had an opportunity here. I think they had a 5 on. He's got to leave that to Sam Morley. Get out the way, run past it, run a dummy line, hold the inside defence and leave it to the outside backs. That was a clear run in, 5-on-1. Those tries have to be taken from Exeter. What a clear miss for them.
In your shot there, you've got Sam Skinner, former Exeter University captain and now playing for the Chiefs. Quality player and led Exeter to their BUCS Championship victory in 2016.
And as much as he can't say it to his players, it was surely harder not to score there. They really made a mess of that. And they'll be wanting to put a shunt on here. They'll be wanting to get, 27 minutes in. They've suddenly got, we talked about the swing of momentum. They're certainly with them at the moment, but they'll be wanting to make the most of it.
It was not something Jack Rouse will ever want to watch again, I dare say. Unless they can shunt them over here from 5 metres.
Okay, we'll have a bit more of a gap, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you feel 27 minutes, key stage of the game. Durham have scrapped very, very hard and managed to score 2 good tries. But you do feel that any time Exeter attack, they've just got the structure, the game, that if they get it right, they look far more dangerous, especially when they get in the final third.
Bind. Set.
Harry Bassett feeds the ball for Durham, who goes sideways.
Use it.
But do somehow get the ball away. Charlie
That is
Wilson
a ruck, 8!
Ruck was called, and McRae had his mitts on the ball for a moment. But penalty for trying to pull the ball back. As the referee, Luke Davis, says,
come off.
Illegally so.
Yeah, and you have to say, James McRae, very silly. I mean, whether the referee's right or not, you have to be more disciplined there. And what's going to happen? They're going to get the ball back, they're going to kick it out, probably 30 metres out, you've got an attacking platform.
He's on his feet.
It's an unforced error. It's given them potentially a line out on halfway when effectively Exeter could have had a platform 30 metres out. Silly, silly error from James McRae there. You can see there, initially he's absolutely fine. but I think it's here where he comes in, he just loses his feet. To me, slightly harsh. He's made the clear out. He's come through the gate. It's the referee's call, and there's nothing you can do about it now. But I think there he's better off just setting up, letting them kick it out 30 metres out.
Well, time off here whilst Harry Bassett,
Your 8's come
Durham's
in
number 9,
legally,
receives
and then
a
you
wee bit of
fall off your
treatment.
feet. Still a ruck. Stay on your feet.
Chance for Durham to draw breath. After that brilliant start in the 2 tries, it has been Exeter, all them.
Yeah, Exeter have showed their true class. They had to. I mean, they had to bounce back. They started the game really well, 3-0 up, then suddenly 2 tries out of nowhere, feeding off the defensive press that Durham have done so well. But they slip off slightly against a side like Exeter. They can let them back into the game. That's exactly what happened. And you feel now they're just hanging on a bit. Yes, they were leading 12-10, but they're just hanging on. They sort of almost need half time to regroup and start again and start with that aggressive mindset again.
I'm sure many of you would have noticed that the pitch here, 4G synthetic, very fast track, and something which Durham very much used to themselves, having a pitch which they train on up in Durham. High quality surface and bows for running rugby on a night which, if it were grass, it could be a bit slippy, could be a bit damp, could take away the thrill and the running game from both sides. Yeah, I mean we've been very fortunate on a night like this. You know, feels more like a spring night than an autumn night, but you know, it is definitely makes for a better game, better running game. 2 sides that want to play attacking rugby, and you know, I would say at the moment, yes, 12-10 to Durham, but it probably suits. You look at the back 3, you look at the 10-12 of Exeter, it probably suits them slightly better. Time will tell whether that's the case at the end of 80 minutes, but still 12 minutes to go, or 10 minutes on the clock there until half time as we just see to an injury here. Well, just in that interim, you saw there, and actually still holding court is Tom Catterick over by Durham's post. He's got all 4 of his outside backs with him, and you fancy that with all his experience, he might just be teaching them a few lessons, a few tricks of the trade, and they're certainly eagerly listening to their general at number 10. Yeah, I was going to say, you would imagine they'd want to listen. You know, he's been there, he's done it, he's experienced at the top level, and he's got an 18-year-old on only his 3rd appearance this season, putting in some shift already. Charlie Norman, Rory Hardman, guys there, real blend of youth and experience. You know, bodes well for Durham this year. Well, he's taken on a business and management degree, Tom Catterick, so should be around for a good few years in Durham colours. Celebrates his 27th birthday next Wednesday when Durham play Leeds Beckett. And they're a side that's really come to the fore this year. We saw them last year, regular season, 14 losses from 14 appearances. You know, and suddenly this year they've made some really good signings. The guy Johan Visser, postgraduate, I think he's 27. He's come in and he's just added a bit of steel to that front row. The 9 and 10, Connor Lloyd at 9, outstanding for them in the first game against Bath, ex-Scarlet player. So again, it just shows how this uni rugby cyclical nature of it. One year you can be not so good, well, not very good at all. The next year you're right in the mixer, and I feel that Leeds Beckett this year are going to be right up there with a chance.
Numbers, please. 5.
Durham go for a shortened line out once more. Barron goes long, but well over. Josh Peters took it on. Gift from Durham to Exeter. Can they capitalise? McRae once again makes inroads. Morley finds Landry, and it goes to Dunthorne again. Lovely cut-out pass from Landry to Thorne. Morley now crashing up his Felix Madison, and it goes to Josh Peters once more, and this time he does score. Back on the side, there to anchor the scrum from Lucid, but scoring under the posts, Josh Peters. And we saw he should have scored earlier on when he was, George Gosling should have passed on the inside, he should have been on the sticks that time, but the support play, the line from Felix Madison, absolutely outstanding. This time they don't go out the back.
Morley looks as if he's going to go out the back against Landry, but instead flat ball to Felix Madison, and the aggression and the pace that he burst onto the ball created the offload for him. See here, what a burst of pace from Felix Madison, and he gets his hands free. Brilliant work there, and Peters under the sticks, and you have to say at the moment it's all Exeter.
Madison, the creator there, so highly tipped and highly thought of by so many people. Speaking to his former school coach at Dulwich College this week, and he just said one word: he's awesome.
Yeah, and you look at the balance they've got now with James McRae. We talked about Tom Lauday last year, player of the tournament last year for Exeter at number 8. They've got James McRae this year. Quality ball carrier, but to get the balance right with Madison, who offers a bit more. He's a ball carrier, he's brilliant on the floor, and then Rio at number 6, who's defensively an absolute dog. So they've just got a brilliant balance in that back row, which links so well with their 9, 10 and 12 this year.
And right now Durham struggling to contain Exeter. Such a brilliant start for the men in purple. They went 2 tries to the good up. I've now seen 3 against them. Harder than it was, working his way on the far hand touchline. Clegg took it on, the captain. New man on for Durham with the box kick there, Owen Bennett. But this is Salem Bogey. Powerful run from the fullback, Dubois. But his run is met really hard on the gain line. Jack Rouse there looking to make an offload out the back. Didn't quite happen. Now Landry in these dangerous spaces where he has time to think and make decisions. Himbry powering forward the right-hand wing. Quick ball from Exeter's forwards, and Morley sees half a gap, and McRae doesn't need to see half a gap, he just powers forward. Landry back inside to Rouse, who butchered that try around about 8 minutes ago. Knock on though from Exeter. Durham have a chance to escape. Wilson took it in. Duffy now.
Advantage over.
Clegg, Durham happy to play out of their 22. Catterick, what can he work in these tight spaces here? Finds Rawcliffe. Now Haas Ferrara, a 2-time Portuguese cap. Another high box kick, and Mboge can't take it. Himbry has to tidy up. Salem Mboge still on the floor after that collision in trying to catch that ball.
Yeah, it looked quite a nasty one in the air there. Brilliant kick from Harry Bassett there, putting Mboge under pressure. He went up and looks as if he got taken out in the air initially. But both players are down, referee right to stop it. But again, Exeter, they went through the phases. You felt there was just a moment when they were just going to break through again, and then a mistake from Lindsall. But here's the kick from Harry Bassett. Yeah, you can say he doesn't really compete for the ball. Don't know who it was there. I think it might have been the Kai Devine there, who's on the floor. I know Kai Devine's just in front of us here. I can't quite see who it is at the moment, but is he going up for the ball?
Yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily say so. I think he's lucky to get away with it there. Let's hope both players are okay. Never nice to see that sort of collision in the air. But Exeter again, Lindsall, just that error, just at the last final third. They've been brilliant play up till then, just mixing their game up. That's one thing they've really adapted to. You know, whether that's come from the sideline, from the coaches, whether the players at 10 and 12 in Morley, or 9, 10 and 12, Dubois, Morley and Landry have taken it by the scruff of the neck, but they've really mixed their game up. They're running hard, at the first 3 or 4 defenders, what that's doing is sucking in those Durham defenders don't want to commit the breakdown. They want to make the tackle, fan out and say, beat us one-on-one. What they're doing now is they're running tighter, they're running harder, they're sucking in defenders, they're creating a bit of space for the outside backs, and you know, really smart play at the moment from this Exeter side.
Durham, though, interestingly, seemingly happy to run it out of their 22. They didn't take the advantage and boot it out. Catterick, perhaps he thought something could have been on, and I guess if you gamble like that, sometimes it pays off.
Yeah, and I think that's that's surely a way that they've been coached, and the way they want to play this year is not to give away easy possession back to an exciting back three that Exeter have got. They want to play from deep, and you think after all the pressure they've been under, just get it down there. But no, they like to play, and they almost got their just rewards there. They almost got the ball back from that brilliant kick there from Bassett. So it's an exciting time for this Durham side. They want to play rugby, and they've got the players to do it.
So both players back on their feet, but Tom Lewis, the man who involved in that collision for Durham, well, I thought he was heading off actually. He's taking his place a little bit gingerly in the back line. Sal and Bogan, meanwhile, takes his place at number 15. So both players unaffected seemingly by that collision. Or at least they're not showing it enough to be taken off.
No, good to see them both back on their feet. What an opportunity here. 34 minutes, just about coming up to 34 minutes on the clock. You feel this could be a turning point in the game. Exeter get the stranglehold, they get an opportunity and they take it. Suddenly the game is chasing a game for Durham is different to being in the lead, so big opportunity here.
Himbury popping up at 10 and finding Landry. Morley puts his shoulder down, does the small number 10. Makes good yards as well, and Rouse met Justin Clegg, and they pretty much neutralised each other there, the two hefty number 5s. Dubois, now Linsell. Exeter's captain puts his head down. Rouse again getting through a lot of work, but going backwards in the tackle. And again, Morley.
Been 7, 8, 9 phases. They haven't gone anywhere. In fact, they've probably been knocked 10 metres backwards. They needed to sit back in the pocket, not try and play too much. We've seen how Durham have scored their tries so far. Their 2 tries have been off mistakes, off defensive press. Get back in the pocket, knock the corners and put them under pressure at the line out.
Harry Barron, we've seen him overthrow a couple of times in this first half. There's a bit of a wind picking up. That time it doesn't go cleanly either, and this is Peters again. He's already got one try. The loose head prop and storms off towards the post there. McRae carries the move on. Now this is Linsell. The heavies going through the work here for Exeter. Dubois finds Cutbill.
Roll out! Advantage. Slowing it down. 8 red.
Ryu. Linsell again, and now McRae. Exeter's forwards putting in a shift here at as the second half, first half rather draws to a close. Exeter with a chance out on the left, but Durham just about managed to reorganise. Kelly. Exeter playing advantage. Well, for a very small amount of time, there were gaps on the left-hand side for Exeter.
Roll away.
Big call here, isn't it, for them? You would expect that's a oh, there we go. Landry's going to go to the corner. I was going to say, when you've got the momentum, you're 17-12 up just before half-time. This could turn the game on its head. This could make them take them that 12-point ahead, 12 points ahead if they get a 7-pointer. So big opportunity here for Exeter. This is the opportunity. This is the chance they've got to make the most of.
Not even a second thought from Landry. Took the ball, booted it straight into touch.
And what makes that even better is we talked about Sam Morley taking the right options, sitting in the pocket. What happens? He puts it on the 22, an overthrow again, or a miscommunication from Durham Uni, and suddenly we're in this position. Great option from Sam Morley initially.
Linsell goes up for it. Madison it was who's on the ball. He scored from this position in Exeter's first game against Nottingham Trent, but Durham doing a good job. Now Madison peels off, and can he power through himself? Harbinson pulled him down. And it's the captain, Linsell. And now Cutbill powers forward. Will Cutbill. Peters again, reaches for the line and gets there. Durham's fourth try just before the first half draws to a close, and it's come through. Number 1, Josh Peters.
Josh Peters, he might as well be playing in Felix Madison's position. He's absolutely everywhere at the moment, playing prop, but ultimately outstanding support play. Wherever the ball goes, he is there. And there he is on the end of it again. He could have had a hat-trick in this first half.
That's it.
But Exeter suddenly completely dominant and showing the true class that they are as a unit.
Well, with the exception of Greg Dubois, who's having to provide the ball from the ruck to his forwards, Exeter's backs aren't really doing too much at the moment. They could have made themselves a cup of tea.
No, and I think that's been the change of tactics in this second period of the first half. They really have just said to their forwards, just get on the front foot, carry as hard as you can, and suck in this Durham defence. Otherwise, we're going wide too early. We're going to our backs too early. We haven't earned the right to go wide. And you can see it, just a change of momentum, a change of precision in everything their forwards are doing.
That try opening up a 10-point gap for Exeter, subject to Landry adding 2 more. Eagle-eyed is Ted Landry. 24-12. The referee draws the half to a close, and it's a half which Durham started at a hell of a lick, scoring the first 2 tries, and they've seen themselves slowly pegged back by the structured, disciplined, and ultimately successful play from Exeter University. 24-12 at half-time. Back to you in the studio, Joe.
Welcome back to our studio here pitchside at the Rock. An absorbing first half of rugby that saw Durham start brightly, but Exeter come back with their power and go into the break 24-12 up. What do you think about that, Mitch?
It was an exciting start. It's what we asked for, a few tries. I think it's a bit of a surprise maybe to see Exeter up by 12 going into the half. But certainly their 10-12 axis is really working nicely. It's something we identified before the game. And at the moment, Durham just struggling to get to grips with the way they're picking the options in terms of whether they're playing the short line runners or playing out the back. I feel like Exeter are ideating that space pretty well.
No, like we said before, the 10 and 12 are good ball players. They hold good width across the pitch, and like you said there, they pick the right options at the right time. And towards the end of the game, to end of the half, it's really paid dividends for them.
Yeah, I noticed with the Durham defence you're shooting very hard, trying to catch those runners, and it was working initially, but Exeter are getting a little bit more perch as the half's gone on.
Yeah, it's a really a high-risk strategy, but it can give paid dividends at certain times. And I think the 10 and 12 have really taken the grip of it, got used to how to play into it, and they've got some really good rewards towards the end of the half.
Well, you've been in the Crow's Nest all game. You've seen that you've had the best of you. What do you reckon, Hugo?
Yeah, I think in the first 20 minutes they upset the rhythm of this Exeter side. Exeter like to play a structured game. They were flying up in defence, they were making their tackles, and they were making it very difficult. And they were feeding off the mistakes from Exeter. Exeter were making mistakes all over the pitch. What they've done now is they've just tightened up a bit. They've gone really hard with their back row, with Madison running brilliant lines close off Dubois. They've drawn in the defenders. They've given Landry and Sam Morley a bit more space in those outside channels to make the decisions, to hit the flat passes, to go out the back. They've got more time on the ball now.
You mentioned the back row, we've mentioned the back row, but it turns out they've got 4 back rows on the pitch basically. Peters is everywhere.
Oh, unbelievable. I mean, he could have had a hat-trick. You know, Gosling made a break through the middle. He had James McRae and Peters on the inside. They were under the sticks. He would have had a hat-trick. He's playing more like Felix Madison than Josh Peters tonight.
Well, Exeter have ended up on top, but Durham started really, really brightly, and we've got their try coming up. Right here, you talk us through it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it all came from their defensive. What you don't see is what happened 3 or 4 phases before. Exeter spilled the ball up the field, and Durham the man had just come on the field, Kai Devine, showed serious turn of wheels in the corner. Brilliant work.
Great wheels from him as well. He's had a bit of a sevens experience, and you can see why. You know, with that pace, you need to have that kind of speed if you're going to mix it on the sevens field. I think you're featuring the Europeans this year, so you know, it might be one to watch on the World Series potentially this year.
You don't often see a second row gassing a winger in the corner, so fair play to him.
I was going to say, would you show that man the outside, Mitch?
Of course I would. You know, you'd have to tackle him if you show him into this corner.
Exactly. Well, so yeah, we said they started brightly, but I thought that Durham had a lot of opportunities in that first period. They're making breaks, but they're probably lacking support a little bit. Exeter turned them over on the line, on the 22. What's going on there?
They'll probably look back and think there's a few missed opportunities, and if they could have had those, it'd have been a much more comfortable scoreline at half time. I think they'll be looking this half if they can get those breaks again to make sure they get numbers to the breakdown, or maybe finish even further, even a bit earlier in the proceedings.
Well, the one time they did get their support pumping is for the second try, which we've got coming up here. The big man Clegg going through.
Yeah, it is a great line. He ran really hard. He looks for a good option there, doesn't he? Offloads after the tackle, and it's a good score under the stick.
And what's so good about that is, you know, for a big second row, how much time did he look as if he had on the ball when he made the break? You know, he's not panicking here. He's not, you know, what your normal second row would do. He's gone through in the tackle there, and the offload. The defenders thought he's going to go to ground. He's going to die with the ball, and he gets the one-handed offload and a good support line from Charlie Norman.
Well, yeah, his vision was excellent there and his awareness, because later in the half, Exeter, the hooker Gosling went through, and it seemed like he had an armada either side of him, and he went on his own. You identified.
You can't blame the man. I think he probably, I don't know, front rows, how many tries did they score? He probably saw the line back.
Especially from that long out.
I fancy it. Yeah, it would have been one for the highlights reel, but yeah, I imagine his mate next to him was probably giving him a rollicking after that one.
Well, so we talked about Durham and shooting the defence. The one time they got round, a big fen came from Thorne, and he came in for this try.
Yeah, you just see here, again, the build-up play excellent from Exeter. And this is where, when I said they'd sucked in a few numbers. So the pass from Sam Morley, the pass just got on the outside of Charlie Norman. And this time, Charlie Norman's defence, he'd been, throughout the first half, he had an opportunity to come from outside to win. There, he got sucked in by the lack of numbers. And Dom Thorne, you know, here the pass just gets him on the outside, and a great fen. And the outside defence has read the players out wide, and it gives Dom Thorne an easy run into the line.
That opportunity was maybe created by Durham's inability to exit. They had a few opportunities to get out of there. They'll be pretty disappointed with that.
Yeah, it just invites pressure on yourself, and you invite that much pressure on, it's going to pay at some point. You're going to pay the price of that, and that's that. You know, the winger drifting off the pass with a beautiful line, and Fenton is under the post for a try.
Yeah, and then the 10-12 Axis can execute it. What do you like about those two, Mitch?
Both of them have got a lot of time on the ball, particularly Landry at 12. He just looks very comfortable. because they're working together well, so they're always ahead of the game in terms of ideaing where the space is. The front row is scoring the tries, what we want to see.
And just looking at that try, that just shows how they mix it up so well. We talked about that try before where they went behind. There they went flat to Madison, he attacked the line hard. And who's there again? Mr. Peters.
Well, there you go. Amazing first half. We've got a great second half lined up. It is kicking like a mule here with the DJ on, but it's back to the commentary box of the second half.
Yes, we're poised for kickoff here. Catterick goes into the 22 of Exeter. Quite a second half required by Durham if they are to get back into this one. 24-12 Exeter lead here. We are in southwest London at Rosslyn Park. This is Durham's home game, well, one they've chosen to play down here in the capital by means of engaging their London alumni network, and you can see them just on the far side in the purple blazers. Smart exit work by Exeter. McRae off the top. Down into midfield, Landry stepping back inside. And now Rouse. Charging up his batteries is Jack Rouse. Took a while to get going in the first half. Now he looks at full lick. Morley there. The number 10 taking the ball on. Luke Pierre-Rieu, blindside flanker for Exeter with his head down. Dubois brings the ball back right. Himbry and McRae, who could have given it, chose to go himself, and Durham swallowed him up. Exeter at 100 miles an hour at the start of this second half. Kieran Kelly, Exeter with the advantage, and they will go back for it.
And you have to say they worked the space brilliantly in the outside channel there. James McRae, you called it, he had to give that. Just one more pass, free. I think it was Himbry on the in the outside channel there. You feel with how he started that first half, well, how he played in the first half, Himbry, he would have made the most of that. So just little opportunities like that, this early in the second half, could have taken the game away from them. But to see there, referees call it back, high tackle on Felix Madison. Chance for Landry to kick it in the corner.
Maybe a small fellow, Felix Madison, but he still can't go high on him with the new rules. Referee's so sharp on.
Thank you. And you can see why his coach of Dulwich College was saying how awesome he was. He really is a little nugget. You know, he might be small, but gee, he runs hard, he's aggressive. He gets over the gain line every time he carries the ball. Sets a real good platform for this back line of Exeter.
Gosling finds his man, and Exeter get the rumble on.
19!
Heading towards Durham's line, although Durham dig their heels in slightly. Still going here. Dubois digs for it. And the dive over.
It's the wrong line though, isn't it?
Straight for the line. Well,
I think it's the 5-minute line.
Everyone fooled. Now they're heading for the right line. Pick and go from McRae.
Still playing penalty advantage, let it come here.
Still, Exeter leave it up to the forwards. Hammering away at Durham's line. They pick and go once more. Joe Duffy just about
Penalty again.
preventing Exeter from that. Exeter so
Let
close
it come
now.
here.
Madison now from a short ball puts his head down. Landry plays 10. Out to Morley, and it comes all the way over. It's Dom Thorne once again. His second try in this game. Exeter start the second half, and they mean business.
Yeah, and Josh Peters, you could just see there on the crash ball, he wanted his hat-trick. He didn't quite get it, but he sucked in the numbers, and just what you want. Landry steps in at 10 this time, Morley at 12. They've both got the passing game to carry off a brilliant executed try over the top. The defence flew up from Durham, as they have done all day, but this time just short of numbers. And Dom Thorne, you see there, Landry at 10, Morley at 12. As the defence flew up, I think it was Hardman there. Dom Thorne in the end with an easy finish.
Yeah, he won't have too many more easier finishes in BUCS Super Rugby than that one. Dom Thorne had to work a lot harder for his first, of course, with that powerful fend from about 20 metres out.
I really do like this axis of 10-12 for Exeter. They're just two very, very good ball players, and it just gives them so many options in attack. Yes, defensively they've got stuff to work on after conceding 50 points last week to Northumbria, but in attack, they're that side that just wants to go out and score more points than the opposition, as we saw last week. I know that sounds obvious, but if you score 50, we'll score 53. That is the sort of side that they are, and it's exciting to watch.
Well, Landry just slides that one, but the score's 29-12 to Exeter.
And what it does do also is you're never out of the game. You know, at 12-3, who would have thought 26 unanswered points in the last 35 minutes? You know, that is what this Exeter side can do, and it's very hard to come up against. You know, as a side like Durham, you've got to score not just from their mistakes, but also from constructive plays, and you can't be doing that. Just when you get possession back, you've got to keep hold of the ball, put them under pressure. Only way you'll beat this Exeter side.
Is he part of the scrum?
Such a formidable side, Exeter, and when they get going, not just in a match, but over the course of the season, they put 9 wins together in a row last season. Durham it was actually who ended that run. 23-22 victory. They had already lost to Exeter that season. Exeter notching 50 points in that one, so it really was 2 very different games that they contested last season. None like this, though, down in the capital. Just see there, it was Harbinson, the number 7, who knocked it on.
Yeah, and frustratingly, they'd done the hard work. You know, they chased the kick-off expertly, got the ball back, and then a basic mistake, and suddenly you find yourself, you know, 3 or 4 phases, they could be back down in their own half, they could be in their 22, you know, against this side. Just going back to this Exeter team, I think this is a better team than last year. You know, last year they relied on, I feel, more individuals. Like Lauday was absolutely outstanding from number 8. I feel they've got a better, you know, talk about Josh Peters. Josh Peters tonight and going forward for this year, Gosling, you know, Tom Lauday, Kieran Kelly and Bogey, you know, they've got a real good blend across the whole team. They've got threats all over the pitch. James McRae, Felix, Jean-Pierre Rieu, you know, there's names you can carry on. It's really exciting, Madison, for this Exeter team. So you know, I'm excited about what they can produce over the course of the year. This year.
If there is an area which others can look at and be like, well, actually, that's an area where we might be able to get a bit of advantage, where would you ID that part of their game?
Well, I think both sides that have put Exeter under pressure have been the sides that have flown up in defence and been able to keep that going for 80 minutes. You know, both sides we've seen have done that. Nottingham Trent did it for 40 minutes. We've so far seen it for 40 or 30 minutes from Durham. You've got to keep it going. It's a hard game plan to play against.
So we see Exeter on the break. Morley feeds Landry, who goes back to Kelly with speculative out the back pass, but Kelly makes the most of it indeed. Linsell ploughs over the top of Durham's would-be defenders. Now Morley. Mbogate spots a gap. Exeter with an advantage. Peters again on the burst. My goodness, he's having quite an evening here at Rosslyn Park, Josh Peters. Back for the penalty for offside, though.
3 red and 7 red.
I just feel at the moment that everything's going for Exeter. You know, even when they make a mistake, referee goes back for an advantage. Durham look as if they're getting a bit tired, and we're only 49 minutes in. But you know, are they defeated already? This Exeter side really is showing, you know, what they can be like when they're on the front foot. Put under pressure, yes, their structure goes a bit, but when they're on the front foot, gee, they have some players to capitalise on that.
And Exeter's lineup will be within 7 metres of Durham's line. Simon Linsell there, laying down the law to his pack, the man with the green headband. Such a key part of Exeter's team. The captain, but well, coming into this game, the top try scorer, Dom Thorne, now joins him on 3. Having scored 2 in this game, 1 in either half so far. Yeah, as a winger on 2 with the rest of the second half, Thorne will be licking his lips at trying to get a hat-trick in front of this crowd here.
Very much so, especially as the game starts to open up a bit. You can see there was a bit more space early in the second half for Exeter. Josh Peters, luckily for Exeter, is back on his feet. You mentioned already what a 50 minutes he's had. Absolutely outstanding for this Exeter side.
Thorne will have to try and get the ball off Peters for the hat-trick if he is to get it. Peters is certainly hunting one as well.
There'll be all sorts of chat in the change room afterwards if Peters gets a hat-trick before Dom Thorne. But
yes,
he will be desperate
right
to get it himself.
Words will be had. Linsell goes up for it. McRae secured the ball, and now Exeter rumble again. Will it be number 7, Felix Madison, who pops up with it? They'll have to get it to the line first, of course, and Durham do very well to block it, but Exeter advantage. Rouse. Charlie Norman was over the ball there for Durham. Did a great job slowing it down, but Exeter come again.
Still playing advantage.
Nalan Bogue, who only has Himbury with him. Luke Davies brings both sides back for penalty from
Justin, just quickly.
10 metres out.
We're seeing quite a few penalties. We're seeing offside. We're seeing 19 swimming up the side. We've got 7 off his feet up at the end of the first half. Discipline, please. Have a word. Thank you.
Yeah, you can see the referee just warning Clegg about their misdemeanours at the moment. Ted Landry surely will be going for the corner again here. They've already got a 17-point advantage. They'll surely want to take this out to 22, 24 points and really put the game beyond this Durham side.
Well, Durham have stoically defended the driving maul so far, but the dam will burst at some point, you sense.
Yeah, this really is a tipping point now for Durham. You feel this is their last chance of a sniff back into the game. They have to hold out this extra drive. So far in this game, they've done really well with the driving maul, but you feel that something's got to give soon for this extra driving line-out.
Exeter come in field this time, crabbing towards the posts. Forward they go as well, though. And the referee does see the ball on the line.
Josh Peters, there he is. I tell you what, normally you see a George Gosling, the hooker, or Felix Madison, either the hooker or the 7 at the back peeling away, but this time there's no stopping the man. We just spoke about it. Who was going to get it first? Was it going to be Josh Peters or Dom Thorne? Well, there's your answer. The big man's over for his hat-trick, and what a performance from him so far.
Well, it's about the only way to ensure you do get the ball, by keeping it in the maul. Dom Thorne certainly not going to go anywhere near it in that environment, the left wing.
Good call there, Frank, thank you.
And the timing of the drive, you know, we saw it got sacked probably 4 or 5 times in the game so far, just before the line. But here, you can see him on the edge there, and the timing there just to peel away. He saw there was no space. He saw all the defenders had rushed in to try and stop it at source. Great timing from him, great decision making. What an engine he's got.
Hat-trick from the loose head prop. It's not often you get to see that or say that in rugby, but we do tonight, thanks to Josh Peters. 36-12, Exeter lead. McRae collecting well. No true chase there by Durham.
Use it!
High hanging box kick from Greg Dubois. No one fancies it. He bounces through to Rawcliffe. Now, if there is a way back into this game for Durham, it's going to be through broken field play. That's when they look their best in the first half. Catterick. Now this is Charlie Norman. Already has one try tonight and cutting back in field. Kieran Kelly as opposite man. Tried to pinch it on the floor. Clegg takes it well behind the gain line, but gets a good offload in to Harbinson, who tries to step out of the tackle. Morley it was who put the tackle in. Catterick finds Rawcliffe. Best part of the second half so far, this for Durham. Stepping through, and now Clegg.
No foul!
Durham now within 2 metres of Exeter's line, looking to get back into the match. Referee spied a knock-on, though, just as Durham pounced.
Yeah, and you thought the only chance they would have had getting back to this game, they had to score there. Such good build-up play. Been really impressed in a losing performance so far. Yes, we're only 54 minutes in, but in a performance so far that hasn't been, as a team, how they would have expected. Charlie Wilson, just the hands in front of us there, just to create that extra bit of space. A youngster, an 18-year-old, him and Justin Clegg. Yes, more experience from him, but those two guys in the forwards and backs have been outstanding in a team that's 36-12 down after 54 minutes.
Well, Clegg, the England under-20s man it was, who dived over for the line.
It's a good shoulder there, okay? Thank you.
It's hard to see where the knock-on came, but it did. The referee saw it, and you feel that was probably, even with 36 or 26 minutes to go, still that was their last opportunity.
Bind!
You know, they're that far behind, they need to score points quickly.
Start again. You two guys, you've got to work together here, okay? Ear to ear on the bind, okay? You make sure you keep your feet stable, you keep your bind, okay? All right? Thank you.
Let's go! Let's go!
Referee Luke Davis keen to steady the ship at scrum time. Can Durham make the Exeter 8 free kick?
Bind. Set. Free engagement.
Free kick to Exeter. Well, Durham, just too much movement. Seemingly unstoppable at the moment. Josh Peters winning that free kick from the scrum there, or playing his part in it. I'm sure it wasn't solely him there.
He's unstoppable at the moment. He can do anything, this guy. It's definitely the modern day prop.
Rawcliffe gets over halfway. Durham come again.
Step.
Catterick options in midfield, finds his number 8 Fowles. Bennett dancing forward, the replacement scrum half, and a little bit of luck there, but Harbinson was lively to it. Now Catterick. Hardman works some space down the right wing. Clegg again, shrugs off his opposite man, Rouse. Penalty coming for Exeter, for Durham rather. Rawcliffe cuts back inside. Joe Burdis there taking it on for Durham. Penalty was coming against Jack Rouse in the Exeter ranks, that penalty.
And suddenly from nowhere, they're just getting a bit of their game together. You know, something we haven't really seen enough of. 2 tries in the first half came from errors from this Exeter side. Suddenly they're going through the phases a bit. Probably had 4 or 5 minutes of pressure here. A try that was disallowed for Clegg. But another opportunity here very, very soon after to get more points on the board. See here, the 2 second rows at the heart of everything. Big carries, offloads, giving them the platform that they desperately need to get back, or try and get back in this game.
Barron goes long, and once again it's an overthrow. Well, to be fair, it may not have been an overthrow. It was fumbled at the back of the line, but the result is the same. Now Exeter have a chance on the far-hand side. Numbers over for them. Kelly straightens. Lancel. So many carries from both sets of second rows in this match.
Thank you.
Over the top from Morley it goes. Callum Young, the replacement hooker in Exeter's ranks, with that charge. Now Cutbill. Morley, Kelly was a little flat, but good footwork from the outside centre. Morley uses that left peg. Difficult one for Rawcliffe to take, but he does well. This match really breaking up now. It has to from Durham's perspective if they are to get back into it. Clegg to Barron. Morley round the back to Rawcliffe.
Fine. Hold it. Here's the ball. Step.
Exeter's defence resolute. Durham keep coming. Harry Barron.
First man. Tackle here. 7 outs. Thank you.
Exeter turnover and Landry drops deep. Stepping forward though, does Ted Landry. For an instant, if he got that away, Exeter would have had some space on the right-hand side. Dubois has to tidy. And McRae, with his scrum half on the ground, takes it on. Slip out of the tackle from Jack Rouse to Cutbill. But Durham penalty, well, disciplined play from Durham, working that penalty out of Exeter.
Yeah, and as good as the hands there were from Rouse, I think it was the offload there because he got taken out and got tackled. He lost his support play, Cutbill there. But I think touch has been missed. Oh.
You just see
3.
nice hands up the tackle from Exeter, but play comes forward, and this is Hardman charging forward. Fouls picking up from the base of the ruck. And
First man.
only going sideways ultimately. Charlie Wilson through the middle. Harbinson. Looked lively all night, has
1.
Harbinson. Former Ulster under-20s player is Durham's number 7. Now Clegg, England under-20s man. Break up the field here by Owen Bennett. Taken on by Max Hayes, replacement prop in the 18 shirt. Now Durham have a chance here to get back in the match, and they do score on the left-hand side. Phase after phase came, and the Exeter wall, in the end, it fell down. Durham substitutes making the difference there for their 3rd try.
But is it too little, too late? You know, they've battered the line for the last, I think since 52 minutes, the last 9 minutes. You know, they've been really good in the substitutes. You say a real impact play there. I think it's Josh Gray. Just goes through, and it's the big man, number 18, who goes through as well. They've all linked up very well. Rawcliffe, the final pass, and the finish from Owen Bennett. Was it
Nathan Wyman?
Nathan Wyman, yeah, just goes over the end there. But what they have done is they've injected a fresh impetus into this Durham side. As I say, 62 minutes in, you feel it's too little, too late. I think it's a real test for this Exeter side. We know they conceded a lot of points last week. We know how good they are in attack, but can they get their defensive organisation, which they did for long periods there, in shape, building forward into the rest of the season?
points to Durham now, but 36 to Exeter. Credit the score, though, and credit the effect, as you say, Hugo, of the replacements.
Yeah, they've come on and done a great job. Oh, that's poor from Durham. You've got to take that on the full. They had 4 men around the ball there. As Joe Duffy, it looks like he's gone down with a bit of cramp out there. He just jogs back onto the pitch, but struggling a bit. Playing on this fast service is taking effect for some of these guys. But you can see here in the replay, Sam Morley sort of scuffed it a bit, which made it dipped on Duffy there, but someone's got to put their name on it, Nathan Files, but here they go again.
From the line-out, Kleb tacks it back. Owen Bennett with a great charge upfield.
He blatantly got the call there from Aaron Bagwell from his opposite number. Aaron Bagwell in support, but running back for Exeter, called for the ball and he passed it to him with none of his own players there.
Linsell met hard on the gain line. Bagwell, the new man on in the 20 shirt for Exeter.
Two offsides, competitive penalties here, okay? I might not have an option next time, okay? So go and have a word, and again, one last. Thank you.
Well, Luke Davies, he has been communicative. He's told Durham exactly what he wants, and Justin Clegg several times, and as he's heard there, may well be going to his pocket for the next one.
Yeah, he's had a good game. He's kept control of it very well. It's never boiled over. Both sets of players been very respectful to him, and rightly so. He's had a good night.
Here. You're on that, thank you.
It was interesting to see him for his personal warm-up. He had some of his referees coaching him about which position to be in around the scrum to make sure he had the best eye line at every moment in the match.
Yeah, and he's giving great clarity. All the players asked for is great clarity on the field, and that's exactly what he's given.
McRae taking that one down, and Durham know how dangerous Exeter can be from this position. Peters' try coming from the driving maul.
25, thank you.
Say Peters' try, Peters' last try, his hat-trick try. The loose head prop
Use
on
it
the score
now.
sheet 3 times in this match. It goes to the backs and Landry. Morley spinning inside. It's the little number 10. Cass Eelman in the 18 shirt taking that on, and now McRae only held by one leg. Linsell puts it to the floor though. Uncharacteristic error from Exeter's captain. He's taken that line, he's run that line in this match alone probably 20 times.
Yeah, and poor pass there from Bagwell. You can just see as he comes out, he looks up, it's just gone behind him there. When you've got a man of that size running onto it at pace, Linsell, he runs it so well. We saw in the first game of the season against against, I can't remember who it was against, but the first game he ran that line so well, and he's just so effective. He's got to be put out in front of him. One thing I've noticed since Bagwell's come on is that service from 9 to 10 into the forwards run is not quite as good. Dubois, so swift, so sharp off the base, and it just gave the likes of Morley and Ted Landry a bit of time on the ball.
Well, Bagwell has a contest on his hands this season. Bagwell started the final against Hartbury last year, and number 9 scoring a try in that final too. But Dubois putting in a great performance in this one in the first half. And now Durham on the breakout. Joe Duffy lets it go to the floor though, and then fumbles it. Durham knocking it on. Comedy of errors there from the men in purple.
Advantage over.
Bagwell to Morley and Landry, and now to Max Himbury. Knows what it's like to play on this pitch under these floodlights here, does Max Himbury, having played in the London Floodlit Sevens last year. Not seen so much ball on the right wing in this one. Run hard when he's had it, and now Morley drifting over. Turn of Exeter substitutes from Rory Lorimer to have a run. Linsell that time made sure to gather it in with his big mitts. Morley once more, so difficult to pinned down. Bagwell and Landry at fly half. It's popped up there so many times when Morley's been unavailable.
Out 16!
Sam Leahy taking that short ball. Now Lorimer again. Penalty though to Durham.
Holding.
Exeter just not enough numbers to ruck over Rory Lorimer. Durham survived, but with 10 minutes to go, Hugo, passages of play like that underline the fact that,
your meter. Purple on the
barring
line,
a complete miracle, they have been outplayed in this one.
Yeah, and they're definitely just playing rugby at the wrong ends of the pitch at the moment. You have to give credit to their defence. You know, they're not giving up despite the scoreline. 36-17, a dominant attacking performance from Exeter so far, but Durham will play for 80 minutes under their coach Alex Key. That's one of their traits. You can see here what a performance he's put in. The young number 12, Charlie Wilson.
Just 18 years old, Wilson. Playing outside Durham's number 10, that man there, Tom Catterick. Sure to learn a lot this season. Catterick, the former professional. Rawcliffe now bursting through, has a man with him, and he gives it to Rory Hardman, who gets the score in the right-hand corner. Durham do find some space, and they find their fourth try as well.
And maybe there's a twist and turn to this game. 36-22, if he gets this, 36-24. They still have a sniff in the last 10 minutes for 2 tries. A great line from Tristan Rawcliffe, and classic play there, 2-on-1. Rory Hardman, but unfortunately he's missed that. That's still a chance. 2 converted tries will take it to 36-all, so they've got to believe this Durham side, and they're the side in the ascendancy at the moment.
Yeah, let's do it.
Catterick wayward from the tee. Credit Rory Harman on his 47th appearance for Durham University, first 15. Scores a try in the corner. Scores elsewhere from tonight. We've just had confirmation that Northumbria have beaten Loughborough 38 points to 26. Quite a result, that one, Hugo.
Well, it just shows how much this league is on anyone's day, anyone can win it. You know, last week we saw Loughborough beating Hartbury very convincingly. They then go to Northumbria, who just narrowly lost. Here we go again, that man again, number 12.
Charlie Wilson putting in a kick. Doesn't have any chasers, really. Not anywhere near Morley, who has time to gather. Durham strike runners able to come to the party as the match breaks up in the final 10 minutes. Rawcliffe. Wilson goes for the gap again. Catching your eye, Charlie Wilson tonight, clearly, Hugo.
Yeah, for an 18-year-old, what I like about him, he's just not scared to take on the defence. You know, he really does attack the line. When he gets the ball in his hands, he loves to go through the tackle and offload the other side of the tackle, or, as he's shown, make a number of breaks tonight. So, really exciting for the future for Durham Rugby. You know, he's going to be there for the next 3 years. It's exciting times for them.
Rawcliffe again threatening the line. Poor pass from Bennett, though. Max Hayes has to tidy up. The penalty coming.
Sorry, just thought we really have seen since 52 minutes what this Durham side is about. In 20 minutes, they've turned this game on its head, and they've showed, you know, what we could have seen. Yes, defensively they were good at the start of the game, but attacking-wise, they can take a lot from this last 20 minutes going forward, even if they don't get the result that they want to win the game into the rest of the campaign.
See that break from Wilson. Big fend in. Showed good pace as well, but Bogey it was who was quick to close him down, forcing him to kick.
You feel here, 73 minutes on the clock. We have seen a few too many errors off the line out. Can they get it right this time? They need to. They have.
Devine it was who took it down. Devine who opened the try scoring for Durham in this match.
What a finish this would make out if they could get over the line here.
One, scrum off!
What a moment in this game. Who would have thought it?
Exeter do take it to the ground and Clegg has to restart with a short ball. Hayes again drives forward. Clegg. Hayes once more.
No, 7!
Durham happy to take on Exeter's big boulders in the forwards, and now they go to the left with Rawcliffe. Rawcliffe, powerful run forward from the fullback Tristan Rawcliffe, almost going all the way himself.
No, 8!
And here comes Fowles to Tritz for the line. Tries to place it, held up though. Durham so close there to another try.
What a brilliant tackle. I think it was Cassie Ullman there on the line. Just got underneath the ball. You thought for all money, just the man you want on the end of it, Ben Fowles there. But he couldn't quite get it down. Brilliant line, as you see here. He's just got, well, it might have even been Sam Morley, the Cassie Ullman and Sam Morley. Exactly what you want from your 10, just to get under the ball. The little man did it. And that could have just about won the game for this Exeter Uni side. Bit of break in play. Still 5 minutes to go and still an opportunity with a 5-metre scrum. But Durham, you feel, need to score with this first phase off this next play.
Well, Fowles has run hard and strong all night, and that time all it took was the small figure of Sam Morley to stop him on the line. He's been in the wars, rather, Exeter's number 10. He hasn't shirked any of the physical challenges.
I'm just looking down at, Keith Fleming. He really must be thinking, there he is. What do we have to do to win a game? You know, 53-50 last week. 36-12 was it up? Suddenly 36-22. Could easily be 36-29 in a minute or two. He must be having got a few more grey hairs over the last couple of weeks.
And the converted try here would certainly make things interesting.
Use it now! Use it!
Fowles at 8. Goes to Bennett. Bennett goes himself.
Off feet!
Exeter turn it over though. And the referee says play on. Great snaffling by Exeter's back row.
Hold your line.
Young drives forward.
Use it!
Morley has to check and does get his kick away, but missed opportunity there for Durham. This could lead to another one, however. Bennett. Penalty Exeter. Well, as close as they just got to the line, they only have themselves to blame for that one. Coughing the ball over and then sealing off the ball, incurring the whistle of referee Luke Davis.
And you have to say that could have been Durham's last chance there. I've been really impressed with Lorimer since he's come on. He's been absolutely everywhere. Defensively at the breakdown, little nugget, and in attack as well. He loves to carry the ball. But Ted Landry just giving them some breathing space here. Line out on halfway, exactly what they want to do. Run the clock down a bit. 3.5 minutes to go now. Surely Exeter have done enough. You feel at key times in the game, you know, when they're under pressure, they've just got that extra gear to prevent Durham from getting that try that gets it too close.
And you can see what it meant to Exeter turning that one over, making things a little bit safer for them. Now they're on the attack through Landry. who's again looked suave and cool in midfield, Ted Landry, tonight.
Yeah, he really has got something about him. He's so cool under pressure. When defences fly up, he seems to have so much time on the ball.
Knock on from Exeter. And Durham's fans, the travelling fans, they took 3 buses down from Durham, but they had probably 1,000 or so come here, alumni-wise, from the city. And no matter the result, they're going to be enjoying themselves and going to be shouting for their team right to the end.
Yeah, and you have to say a home game this for Durham, even though despite it being in London, it's been a real success to bring a game to London for all the alumni to watch. As you say, 1,000, maybe 1,500 people here tonight. Good turnout, good crowd. It bodes well for the future for games back here in the capital.
First of its type, this game, being played nowhere near either side's normal home. Certainly gives the opportunity to spread BUCS Super Rugby around England, around Great Britain. Now bursting through here is Josh Gray, passing, trying to find his winger, but Morley was there again, popping up in defence. He's had a super rearguard part to this second half for Sam Morley. Gray and Bennett.
Red, hold your mark.
Taking down Exeter's tacklers, and Duffy comes out of nowhere.
You can see what they're trying to do here. They've just called Buffalo, which obviously means forward pods just either side of the ruck. They get back off the deck, they carry again. They're just trying to play down the clock with only 2 minutes to go. Always a risky game plan, but with 14 points as an advantage, definitely the option at the moment.
And Hugo, whilst we see Exeter launch these pods, perhaps time for your thoughts on man of the match, if there possibly, I think, may only be one candidate.
I was going to say that as a back, I like to give one of my fellow backs man of the match. You know, you talk about Ted Landry, you talk about Sam Morley, you talk about Dom Thorne, who scored 2 tries, 2 very good tries. But for me, you have to give it to the one and only tonight, Josh Peters.
Very glad to hear you say it. Yes, 3 tries for Josh Peters, the loose head pop. And it's been that which has helped secure the victory. 36 points to 22. Exeter, the visiting side here. Both sides visiting in a way, but Durham nominally the home side here at Rosslyn Park. It's been a special match, particularly special for Exeter. They go 3 from 3. Durham, it's their first loss this season. They beat Bath in their first match, but it's the first real test of their season. For both sides, to change the routine now, so far from home, and a night in London to celebrate if you're Exeter and to lick your wounds slightly if you're Durham. Whilst Hugo hotfoots it to the studio to join Joe. Just time to track back through this one. Started really all Durham to begin with. Tries from Kai Devine and Charlie Norman, getting the men in purple off to the best start possible. And went 12-3 up, but Exeter hit their straps sooner. They came back, 3 tries in the first half. 2 from Dom Thorne, his one coming after the break, and then Josh Peters got his hat-trick score with a beautifully worked maul, peeling off the back and taking the plaudits from his teammates. Credit to Durham, though, who struck back through Nathan Wyman and Rory Hardman at the end. But really, Durham, 4th last year, had no answer to Exeter's power and to their structured play. last year's BUCS Championship runners-up. Looking in fine fettle in this campaign. Well, the traditional player tunnels in evidence here tonight. Durham, they expected so much from this one and came up well short in the end. And I wonder what the boys in the studio think of it. Joe, Hugo, Tom and Ben, over to you.
So, an absorbing game here, ends 22-36, Exeter the victors. They came out firing in the second half. You thought they killed off the game, but Durham so nearly resuscitated it. But a man who had a big hand in that Exeter win is none other than our man here, the hat-trick hero. How are you, mate?
Pretty tired, to be honest. Yeah, just really excited to get the win. Durham is one of our biggest rivalries in the league, and we're just so excited to, improve on last week and onwards and upwards.
Was obviously it's a big event here for Durham. Was something you guys spoke about, silencing the crowd and trying to take them out of the equation?
Yeah, we felt as though we kind of let ourselves down in the first 20 odd minutes. So we felt as though we can come back, and we felt if we kept the pressure on, we'd get some reward.
Yeah, just for me, at times I didn't know whether I was watching Felix Madison or yourself. You seem to be everywhere on the pitch. When George Gosling made a break, why on earth did he not give you? You would have had 4 tries under the sticks. There'd be a lot of banter about that. But we were debating up in the commentary box: was Dom Thorne going to get his hat trick, or were you going to get your hat trick first? You did it. You're always in the right place at the right time tonight.
Yeah, I let everyone else do the hard work.
But let's get down to the nitty gritty. You've scored a hat trick. You've got a fun bus home. What are you going to have to do as a reward for this?
No comment.
Very diplomatic. Well, cheers, thanks very much. Congratulations on the win.
Jump in, mate.
Yeah, jump in. Mr. Clegg, mates, commiserations. I know it's your big day and you would have wanted a win. You showed a lot of spirit out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. Credit to Exeter, they came out firing. I think the boys, first 10-15 minutes, we really hit them. We went through a rough patch, but credit to the lads, because at the end we came back and we were close to that bonus point.
Yeah, do you feel that you left some points out there? Maybe there's a couple of opportunities you might have scored in the first 20 and towards the last 20?
Yeah, definitely. I think we're really trying to play, as you can see with those offloads. We're always trying to play. That's the brand of rugby we want to do, but I think sometimes you just got to learn when to hold it in. But no, definitely there's some things that we can look at to get those big points in.
So you'll take a bit of heart and you'll go back down to Topsham and exercise some revenge next time you play.
Definitely. What a place to play.
And what about the party tonight? Come on, it's starting to pump down.
We're so proud of all the boys that have come down. It's great to see some of the guys I've played with in the past. The support was great, so no, it's really good.
Yeah, and you're looking to engage your alumni, really spread the BUCS word, especially for Durham Rugby.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big part of the club. There's a lot of history in the club, going back a long way, and it's nice to see them down. Because I know I'm going to be that too. I'm going to be an alumni too, and I'm going to want to come and do the same thing. So it's a good thing to do.
What? Goosebumps. It reminds me of my days. Well, look, obviously we're sad to see you lose, but you put on a great show for us today. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin. Cheers. Thanks, mate. Cheers.
So, what do you reckon of that then, Mitch?
I'm just more excited for the party they're about to have now. You just juiced me up for it. I'm ready to go. That was an exciting game. I think Exeter sort of put it beyond reach. Durham had too much to do towards the end, but it was nice to see a resurgence in the last 10 minutes, as you said, and a couple of breakaways, but they didn't really manage to create enough. I think Exeter did a really good job of spreading the field with their defence, actually covering most of the field, and if Durham could have found a way of actually punching a few holes in the gaps between defenders, they would have found that more opportunities open up for them.
Well, it was a marriage of forward power and Chris Hands in the back. So we're going to see some here with Thorne going over for his second try.
Yeah, you just see here, Felix Madison had a brilliant game throughout. His Dulwich College coach from last year said what an awesome player he is. And there, Landry, I love the fact they just mixed it up through the game. You didn't have no numbers on your back. Landry there at 10. Morley at 12, and a brilliant pass from Morley over the top with that rush defence and an easy finish for Dom Thorne.
They're coming at you from all angles, aren't they? If they're not bludgeoning it up through the middle, then they're slinging it wide and putting some air on it. It's difficult to defend.
Yeah, they've got balance, haven't they, across the pitch. They've got real threats everywhere, whether it's 9, 10, 12, whether it's the back row, whether it's their wingers, or even Mbogier at fullback. He had a rare chance at fullback with Mike Haynes out today, and I thought he had a really good game as well. So across the pitch, they've got a real threat. I said in commentary this season, they're not just relying on Lauday, they're not just relying on the one-off players. They've got a real threat across the whole pitch. It's whether they can get their defence spot on against the better teams. That's the big question.
Well, we're going to see that. We're going to see the hat-trick try now coming up. This is when they shifted up to the piano movers. There we go.
You can see there Madison on the ball. You expect him to come up with the try, but you don't often expect peeling away. Peters knew exactly what he was there for. He was there.
His way to the try line.
He knows his way to the try line. He could have had 4 tonight.
Those rolling mauls are exactly, that's what's really exciting me about the game tonight.
Well, no, like these,
that's very accomplished.
But these days, you see these rolling mauls, and they're starting to get to the line. Suddenly, you see a centre coming, and they're trying to latch onto the back.
Why not?
There's always a greedy man at the back sniffing around. But Durham came back. I was fearing for them at one stage, but they really had a resurgence.
Yeah, and to be honest, in the first half, I didn't think they had it in them. For me, from 52 minutes, I think the subs had a massive impact. They came on and really injected a bit of pace, a bit of direction, a bit of go forward. They gave themselves a chance. They gave themselves a platform. They actually, if they had scored when they knocked that ball on, I think it was with the captain, with Justin Clegg, referee called it, they really would have had, they would have been within 7 points. And to be fair, the way they were going, the momentum they had, I think they would have been in with a sniff, but as it was, they ended up losing by 14 points, and they'll go back to the drawing board for next week.
We say they would have been in with a sniff. Kicks made a difference tonight. Catterick had a bit of an off day, whereas Landry, I think he missed one conversion from the touchline. Was impeccable, kept that scoreboard pressure ticking on Durham.
Well, he wasn't the leading point scorer for no reason last year. I think it was 186 points last year. Absolute dead eye. He's not just good in attack, his kicking game as well is very good. And Catterick, as you say, slightly off tonight. That'll prove crucial going forward in games that can be and are very close.
So the try that really put the cat amongst the pigeons for the end of the game is coming up right here. This is Durham's fourth. It gets on the bonus point. And go through the backs here.
Well, for me, Rawcliffe, he had a good night all night. Very, very strong. It reminds me of Mike Brown in his pomp. Every time he got the ball, he broke the first tackle when he was running out of defence. But there, brilliant line. Clinical finish, torn one with Roy Hardman. They probably didn't do that enough. They had opportunities with torn one in the outside channel, didn't make the most of it. But they've played some good rugby. They've got stuff to take forward into the next game, and I guess it's about building. It's still early in the season. There's a long way to go.
And they're 12, the Durham 12, 18 years old. He was electric.
Oh, you have to say Charlie Wilson. Charlie Morgan was good at 13 as well. But the two Charlies in the centres, Catterick actually, to be fair, was outshone by his 12 outside him. I thought he had an outstanding game for a youngster.
Yeah, really strong. And as you say, these guys haven't played a huge amount of rugby as a squad, and they'll still be feeling each other out and working out, how each other play and how to pick lines off each other and things like that. And that'll come. And there's certainly enough, I think, even though Durham fairly comfortably beaten, you'd say today, there'll be a lot of positives for them to take from this, I'd say.
Yeah, so maybe not Durham's day, but they've certainly put on a show, and you can hear the atmosphere building, and they're going to have a good night to mark it, aren't they, Tom?
Yeah, it's so important to have things like this, and we're talking about it before, connecting with the guys who were at the club, because those of us who have played at university understand that whilst now it's brilliant for the exposure for the guys about their future careers and the development of their rugby, you make awesome relationships, you make great friendships, and you have a great time while you're doing it, and that's been showcased tonight in a great way.
They are. I'm jealous. They're in for a big night. Well, Tom, it's been awesome having you on the show. You're welcome back anytime. Thank you so much. Hugo, insightful as ever. You'll be back on Wednesday, won't you?
I'll be there in the Wrecking Bath.
You'll be back at the Wrecking Bath. Okay, right, so Exeter were the party poopers on Durham's big day. They come away with a bonus point win and they top the table. Interestingly, Northumbria got a bonus point win against Loughborough, much fancied Loughborough, so that really puts into perspective where Exeter are at the moment. We're going to be back on Wednesday for another biggie. It's Bath versus Loughborough. Bath desperate for a win. It's at the Rec. It kicks off at 6:30. Join us live. Until then, good night.
Okay, can we stop streaming on YouTube?